Yes, like I didn't think we were going to do it.
And I left some racing stripes along the road on the way back from Stellenbosch. I didn't think I was going to make it on time, and then I had to wait for you. Hi, big guy.
I'm alright, man. Sorry, I got completely sidetracked, and then you suddenly let me know that you were coming, and I was like, whoa, darn it, I haven't written anything. Folks, welcome to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. It's that time of the week again. We've got an awesome prize coming up in the Curry Cup section round about Office 5. We're going to be giving away 30 gigs of data from CyberSmart. True story, once a week. 30 gigs. Yo. 10 gigs a month for 3 months.
Can I win? Right, so we're going on to your little happy place, ITM Cup.
Yeah, and it's been quite interesting. And Sharky, for the record, I switched them round so that you can read the tables the way they're supposed to be this week.
Oh, God. Problem is you do it every week, so I'm still so damn confused. Don't know what's up, what's down.
Well, it gets worse than that because I picked something up today which we're going to chat about in a second.
Oh.
Oh, come on, man. Just tweet Twitter. Sorry, give me 2 seconds.
Right. So I'm just going to start running through while you're busy diddly-daddling.
You can, but this morning, upset of upsets, because Hawke's Bay, who are in the championship, defeated the unbeaten Wellington Lions, who are in the Premiership. And the Magpies raced into a 17-0 lead at home after inside 20 minutes. The Lions roared back.
No, the Lions roared back.
But they did, to lead 24-23 after 60 minutes. Why didn't you say
the Magpies flew into a 17-point lead? Couldn't you get that right? You could
I didn't want to double whammy you in one go. But after 60 minutes, they managed to claw their way back into the lead for the first time, 24-23, before Hawke's Bay ran away with it for a huge upset. Bonus point win for Hawke's Bay, and they get the bonus point even though they're playing somebody in another league in terms of the log.
That's money for Jam because none other sides are going to be getting bonus points of Wellington. So
yeah, and what it means is that Hawke's Bay are odds on, well, no, possibly not. Sorry, Otago have to win their last game to secure a home semi-final in the championship. There was a lot of talk about the bonus point for Hawke's Bay might have affected things, but I don't think so. Otago just need to win. We'll get on to who they're playing in a minute.
The one thing that I do want to mention, and it happens often.
Otago play Auckland. That's why.
I've picked it up, but we haven't really spoken about it. It's really hit home now when you said that they're running to a 17-point lead 20 minutes in. The amount of times I'm seeing in the first 20 minutes where there are 3, possibly 4 tries scored, it's been crazy. Just thinking now, I know it's happened 4 times already. It's crazy. The guys come out so hard, and it kind of just breaks the backbone early.
Yeah, and then you spend 40 minutes trying to get into the lead, and that obviously took everything out of Wellington because Hawke's Bay absorbed all the pressure, conceded a few points, knocked over 2 penalties to stay in touch. In fact, they were leading 23-21 after 60 minutes, and then a penalty from Wellington put Wellington in the lead. Anyway, what it means is Wellington they've secured a home final and home semi anyway, so the result didn't matter. And I have a suspicion that Wellington may have been playing an understrength side, resting key players ahead of big games next week.
Knockouts next week?
Yeah, I believe so. And then yesterday, Otago beat Northland 31-21, 4 tries to 3, and looked to have
also an upset.
They looked to have set up a home semi-final with that win over Northland. No, it's not an
upset. Sorry,
but they would have thought they'd secured a home semi-final because Hawke's Bay, they knew, were playing Wellington today, and the result for Hawke's Bay in terms of that is huge. Canterbury beat Counties to stay in touch in the championship in second place. They're also fighting for a home semi-final. Couple of other results from the last week that on Saturday, Bay of Plenty lost to Waikato 28-25. Otago beat North Harbour 37-23. Wellington thrashed Auckland 38-16. That was quite a big result.
That was Corey Jane's comeback as well.
It was indeed, and I actually haven't followed up to see who did what in the game. But what it means is that the final games are this weekend. Counties play Southland tomorrow. Counties have secured a semi-final spot, so they may well rest players against Southland, who are fighting for a semi-final spot in the championship. Counties have theirs in the Premiership. North Harbour take on Canterbury. North Harbour's season is done and dusted. Canterbury are looking to secure a home semi. Northland take on the Bay of Plenty in a nobody cares. You're both bottom of your logs. Both sides looking for a second win of the season. Waikato take on Taranaki in a game for pride, really. Where are the Naki? Yeah, the two of them are fighting for 5th place in the premiership, so nothing going there. And then Otago take on Auckland. Otago looking for the win to get a home semi-final. Auckland looking for a win to get a home semi-final in their respective logs. And then Tasman take on Manawatu in a game that means about... Nothing. Well, in fact, Tasman can secure a home final in the championship. So yeah, ITM Cup winding up, going to be getting quite interesting. What I'm more interested to see is how they manage bringing their All Blacks back in, because I haven't seen too many names floating around in terms of starting lineups and being back in sides this weekend, and I have a suspicion that they won't be. Right, competition time. As we said, as of this week, compliments of CyberSmart's internet service provider, we have got 30 gigs of data to give away every week, simply by listening to us talk cock, and then tweeting the answer to the question that we ask you, and the question can be on any one of the league's logs or whatever that we talk about. This week I thought I'd pick Curry Cup with the Curry Cup winding up. And terms and conditions do apply. The 30 gigs are 10 gigs a month for 3 months. You need to have an ADSL at home. It can't be for your business, and you have to reside in South Africa, obviously. The rest you can feel free to answer, but as I said, terms and conditions in terms of that or that. The question for this week, and you've got until Monday morning. No, let's just do it until tomorrow morning. You've got till tomorrow morning to answer it. The question is, how many Curry Cup medals have Skalkberger and Jean de Villiers won?
And by entering, you need to?
Hashtag driving more and the answer.
Okay. Can I answer now? Or do I have to hashtag it?
You need to shh.
Nice question.
On to Curry Cup results. And let's start with the one on Friday, Sharky. Because the Sharks needed 2 late Butch James penalties to get up over the Bulls at Loftus in a backs-to-the-wall performance where they felt under the cosh from the referee. Discipline from both sides was very all over the place. But at the end of the day, the Sharks prevailed. They didn't... what it meant is they secured a home semi-final, and it meant the Bulls have got to wait another week to know whether they're even in the semi-finals. Not a hell of a lot much to talk about that game. People were saying there was a lot of ref stress. Most of what I saw didn't seem to be.
That's what I picked up as well. I was watching the game. Unfortunately, I was watching it at a bar, and they didn't have I couldn't hear too well. There was a lot of things going on. There were some interesting decisions.
Keegan Daniel had a face like a slapped ass for most of the second half.
It wasn't a great game for all parties concerned, but great win for the Sharks away from home, especially at Loftus. And as you said, that secures them a home semi. They just need to win this weekend to get a home final.
Just
win.
We'll get on to that.
But what it does mean for the Bulls is they effectively are in a position where the Springboks were. They need to win with a bonus point and not allow the Cheetahs to get 1 point this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
That is, yes. And they need to beat them by... I'll work it out, but you're right. They've got to win by 8 or more.
So much.
They've got to win by 8 or more with 4 tries and not let the Cheetahs score 4, which means that could be the game of the weekend to watch. The other one will obviously be the Province Sharks one, which is a home final decider, potential home final decider. Let's use that word.
And in true form, all of the Curry Cup coaches have not rested one Springbok.
Except, and we'll get there, the second game of the weekend, and Western Province beat the Lions 36-23.
Oh, I know.
Province have waited until the 80th minute of the penultimate game to get their first bonus point of the season. 9 times 8 is 72. So they've played 720 minutes of rugby before they got a 4-try bonus point this season.
Unbelievable. And actually, I tweeted... popped out a message during the course of the game saying Province will definitely get a bonus point win out of this game. And then they went and waited and buggered around. And I feel your pain. I can feel all you guys' pain now because
they had 3 inside 60 minutes again.
And then
I
I was actually wondering, what happens if the top 14 rules were in play with you guys? You actually be like
top of the log.
Bonus points every week. 3 tries.
So what it means is Province now sit 1 point clear of the Sharks on the top of the log with a crucial clash in Durban coming up. And then the other game, Free State left it left the Bulls with it all to do. They absolutely thrashed Griquas 52-21.
Griquas were in with a shot in the first half.
Yeah,
it was very tight. And
then they just Raymond ruled in Kimberley.
Yeah,
4 tries
after being dropped.
Yeah, 4 tries for the rule. Skalk van der Merwe and Piet van Zyl picking up the other 2. And yeah, as we said, what it means now is that the Bulls are fully 5 points behind the Cheetahs. What gets interesting is just talking about resting players. Well, we get onto that now because the Lions have made 7 changes to their starting 15. I don't think they had any box-in-the-box squad, so no real issues there.
Franco van der Merwe.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, Franco comes back
how
in.
do you forget about the captain of the tackle bags?
He's got his Bok cap, and he's back to lead his side against Griquas, and this is where the
Derek
debate.
Minnie's captaining.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is where the debate is going to rage, because Griquas unable to improve on last place, and in a playoff relegation doubleheader on the horizon, Puerto Himan has not picked his best 22. He's rested Springbok Willie Leroux, and he's dropped regulars like Howard Manisi, Steph Roberts, Reino Barnes, the hooker and captain, Manus Skuman, Manus Hooker, and Francois Brimmer, all first choice players all season against the Lions, which means the Bulls may have a reason to cry foul if they win and Griquas don't. But the Bulls should have sorted their shit out earlier in the season. Yeah. Anyway, there could be some debate floating around that one. If the Lions
make a professional game and they're going to look to the future, they can't cry foul.
Yeah. On to the Cheetahs versus the Bulls. And the Cheetahs have brought back their 2 box in Kuni and Adrian Strauss in the front row, and wasn't much opportunity for Nakadrotska to rest players because the guys they're replacing are both injured. And then Philip van der Walt is back from injury, and Piet Linneke comes in on the wing in place of Reino Benjamin. So Cheetahs pretty much unchanged from most of the season. As we said, when you listen to the side, it's basically their Super Rugby team. Henny Danilo, Reino Benjamin.
I thought, where's Piet Linneke playing?
Yeah,
he's on the bench.
That's very confusing because they said Linneke was in for Benjamin. Maybe Linneke went to the bench and Benjamin is the starting lineup. I don't know. I was typing ferociously trying to get things sorted before the show started. Either way, they've made a few changes. The Bulls, JJ and Jan, are back in combination. I saw that at Heineken Meyer is calling them #Engelfontein.
That's quite funny. I tell you, JJ showing up a little bit on defense this weekend for the Springboks. So interesting to see what happens when he will need to defend this weekend. He'll need to score tries, but he will need to defend.
And I'd definitely like to touch more on his efforts on the weekend when we get there. And then Jacques Engelbrecht promoted to the starting lineup after some monstrous performances in recent weeks. John Ross switches to the flank, and the rest of the side pretty much as it has been for most of the season. On to the Sharks.
Sharks and Province have made the most Springbok changes of all. I mean, sheesh.
They have indeed, and let's just start with the Beast 2+3 combination straight into the front row. Clearly, we know where they're targeting things. Marcel Coetzee also starts, as does the PSDT, Pieter-Steph du Toit, in a mouth-watering clash against Eben Etzebeth. Can you fathom it? So five box squad members back into the side. Only 3 of them actually played much of the tests anyway, so no real surprise there. But a bit of and it's understandable why those 3 are there, because the Province pack absolutely smashed the Sharks front row in the reverse fixture earlier in the season.
I must be honest. I think for at least for the first half, I think the Province pack are going to be under a hell of a lot of pressure.
And I'm looking forward to it. But it's a huge call by the Sharks Brains Trust, who, by the way, also we forgot to talk about this. A certain Jake White, surprise,
Boom.
yeah.
Director of
Apparently,
rugby.
he paid the Brumbies 6 figures to release him from his contract.
Oh, as you do.
Indeed. Hey, can you imagine? I don't want to work anymore. Here, have some money.
Massive. No wonder the negotiation only lasts 3
Yeah.
hours. Jack White wants to leave. Jack White's released. Whoa, how did that happen so quickly? It's because I wrote a big fat ass check.
So the Sharks side, SP Murray continues at 15, Odwin Ndagani, Tim Whitehead, Haima Williams, very impressive together and going from strength to strength.
Just kind of mess things around a little bit. If you want to have a look at the centre pairings that are currently running around in Currie Cup Rugby, we've got Damien de Allen de Jean de Jong going for Province. We've got Timmy Whitehead and Haima Williams for the Sharks. We've got Jan Sefontaine, JJ Engelbrecht for the Bulls. The Cheetahs have got Jan Sadi and Robbie Ibbison. I mean, that's
For now, Everson's obviously out of here, but
It's crazy.
There's also the small matter of Andries Coetzee and Lionel Mapue.
Yeah.
And Andries Coetzee, keep an eye on that kid. Personally, I think that he's going to go places if he can get a better union.
we have got some proper centres playing at the moment.
Yeah, and then for the Sharks, big pack. Freddie Zeelinger continues. Pat Lambie kept on the bench, so he's gone from one bench to another bench.
Give that a break.
Bench rider.
Sure.
Charles McLeod, Keegan Daniel captaining the side, John Daisel and Marcel Coetzee, Peter Steph, Toy and Piet Murray, and then, as we said, the Beast 2+3 combination. Kyle Cooper, but the one I do want to talk about, because when, not if, when Jacques Bottas comes off the bench in this game, he will break the all-time Currie Cup appearance record.
Beating who?
Helgard Miller.
Ah, you bugger. You only knew that because you looked it up today.
He will have 143 caps Currie Cup caps when he comes off the bench on Saturday.
The most capped Currie Cup player of all time. And
he's only 32.
And he started where? Do you know?
Falca.
He started at Griqualand.
Okay, he started at Griquas. But 143 Currie Cup caps. At the age of 32, he will play again next year, which means Jacques Bottas could become the first man to 150 caps. And for a man that never got any recognition at a higher level in terms of any Bach honours, and he's also, he scored 40-odd tries in those 140 games.
To be very honest, there's no international player that will be breaking domestic records because they're not here long enough. So unfortunately, if you're going to hold that record, it's going to be because you are the best of the rest. But what a massive achievement. Helgard Miller has held that record for yonks. I remember him running on, I don't know, who did he beat to hold that record? Do you know?
Chris Badenhorst.
Sure. I don't know. I really have no clue.
No, that was the try scoring record that was broken. We'll look that up.
And Helgard Miller's Peter Muller's brother.
That is correct.
Ex-coach of the Cheetahs too.
Yeah, on to Province, because we need to get on to some rugby championship. Jean de Villiers has been benched alongside Skalkberger, and as we said, the question to win 30 gigs of data is how many Currie Cup medals do those two have? Winners' medals do those two have? Khaleesi, Vermeulen and Etzebeth to start. So it's Khaleesi versus Coetzee, it's PSDT versus Extra Beast, and it's Vermeulen versus Keegan Daniel.
That's front clash, those tucks, those 8 big fuckers in the front are going to have a ball.
I am looking forward to Scurra and Tabeni against Bismarck du Plessis, because Scurra is getting better and better, and when you consider he's only 21 or 22 years of age, the kid's got a big future.
He does, and
the way he plays the game.
Two totally different places. I think Scurra's going to have to get around the Beast because the Beast will eat him if he catches him. But Bismarck, sorry. You're correct. Oh, why was I thinking the Beast?
Equity.
But
racist.
Jesus, really? Seriously? What a twist.
Jean de Jong comes back into the side as well, and then the other matchup that I'm looking forward to is the D-Cat versus the Freddie Z. That could be quite thoroughly entertaining. As
all
those
people
two young
out there
pivots
don't actually understand what bullshit comes out of Don's mouth. It's Dimitri Kachkili starting at fly versus Fred Sellinger, who's playing for the Sharks at 10. But interestingly enough, for Province, they don't have an option. I was going to say they don't have a centre option. Jean de Villiers they do. Sorry, he's on the bench. What happened to what's his face? Van der Spey. Was it Van der Spey who played centre?
Van der Spey's dropped.
Injured?
No,
Or
dropped.
out?
Yeah, he got his opportunity and he's one for the
The
future.
Springbok captain's back.
And Sean de Jong.
I'm gonna watch the game on the from the couch.
Yeah, it's and Sean de Jong.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll be over here. Thanks very much, Water Boy. But he didn't disgrace himself in his 2 or 3 caps that he has received this season. Right, on to score predictions before we play a little bit of Wasted Life by Pearl Jam. Where are my fixtures? The Lions will thump Griquas by 40 points. So I'm going to go with a 52-14, 52-12 win.
What game are you playing? Anyway, I'm gonna go Lions by 29.
Oh yeah, sorry, 40 was what I said. We'll get there. Jeez, the brain. Cheetahs will edge the Bulls by 3 and the Bulls won't play in the semis.
Cheetahs by 13.
Sharks Province.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Province by 1.
Jeez, so you calling Province unbeaten in the season? I'm so tempted to shout the draw. But it's in Durban. And Province have a habit of not securing home finals. So I'm going to go with history and say that the Sharks will win by 6. As much as it pains me to utter those words.
Whatever, bro.
Out into the cyber world. We're going to play one, what did we say? Pearl Jam song. When we come back, we're going to touch on the Gold Coast Sevens, and then we're going to...
Sevens this weekend, baby!
And then we're going to charge into the
Dust.
roundup of the Rugby Championship and the test match of the year. No, the decade. No, the century.
No,
the millennium.
No, none of that. None of that. You and I are going to box in the next
Mate,
bit, I think.
It was a thoroughly entertaining game to watch as a fan.
Definitely wasn't the test match of the millennium.
A lot of people would disagree.
Okay, we'll let them.
Welcome back to Driving Mall on Loud Radio. As we said, 30 gigs of data up for grabs. How many Curry Cup medals have Jean de Villiers and Skalkberger won? Tweet
The correct terminology is how many curry cups have they won?
Okay.
Because you actually get a cup, do you know?
No, and it's Skalkberger Jr., not Senior. In fact, it's Skalkberger that's playing currently. There we go. Clarify. Hashtag Driving Mall. Tweet the answer, and we will select the winner out of the first tweet that arrives. On to good look. It's Gold Coast Sevens this weekend, and I mean it's been all changed in the coaching front. As predicted, Neil Powell has been appointed as Paul True's successor, and he will be taking charge of his first Sevens tournament on the IRB circuit, because he did. Oh no, Voyazankwa took charge of the one that they went to Argentina at the end of last year. So Powell will be in charge on the Gold Coast on Saturday. Bright and early on Saturday morning. If you're awake at 3:15 in the morning, South Africa versus France, Blitzbokke playing then. If you're awake at 6:20, Blitzbokke versus Spain.
All the dads.
And then if you're awake at 11 a.m., it'll be Blitzbokke versus England in the second last game of the day, preceded by New Zealand, Kenya, followed by Fiji, Wales, and then rounded off with Samoa, Australia as the last 4 games of the day. So some fun viewing from about 10 a.m. on Saturday morning.
We've actually got a tough group. France are tough. They had a great season last season there.
Spain are
not a pushover.
Yeah.
And England are England. You know, they could roll you if you're not staying awake. Going to be a good one. It's the first one of the season. Couple of boys back from injury. Pretty experienced squad that Neil Powell selected. I just hope we can do something. There's no real youngsters and no names that have come through.
Look, he's gone with plenty of experience while he gets to grips with things. What was interesting was Paul True tweeting after the squad was selected, saying that this is the side to watch, even as the Kenyan coach. because of the depth and experience that Powell has got at his disposal, because basically everyone's back from injury. Frankie Horn's on Twitter.
Yes.
As of
all
today.
one tweet, 600 followers. The usual.
Swines. Okay, on to the Rugby Championship. Look, I mean, I know I was going a bit over the top, but what a game of rugby. And let's just start, because we're very quick with the hashtag ref stress, and we're very quick to have a full go at referees. Can I honestly say that Nigel Owens probably refed the best I've seen a referee perform at any level of rugby in the last 3 or 4 years?
I've never seen a performance by a ref like that ever. It was one of the greatest performances, and to think that the ref, there was more tweeting about Nigel Owens and how well he did than there was almost about the game. It was unbelievable. The players were coming out and saying that he was spectacular. He was cramping because he was running. That oak I would like to know how far he ran that day, because that ball was being thrown around left, right, and centre, and he kept up with the whole time. A little bit of a cramp in the calf at the end, but nothing. A bit of a stretch run fix.
World class performance, and and what I particularly enjoyed, like he used to say on Twitter, is that South Africans are very quick to moan about referees, and it was very nice to see so many being so forthcoming with the compliments directly to him, because he's on Twitter, he's at Ref Nigel Owens, and happy to get into conversations, and he got plaudits left, right, and centre. Look, there's plenty to discuss, but let's get on to the Wallabies mauling the Pumas in Argentina first, because Stuart McKenzie claimed that it was down to a change in training regime, but for whatever reason, the Wallabies finally came to the party this year and avoided the wooden spoon with a 54-17 win with an Israel Folau hat-trick.
And what hasn't been mentioned a lot out of that game is Quade Cooper was on another planet for the first 60 minutes. He really was, he didn't stick out in terms of being absolutely spectacular, but he stuck out by doing his job exceptionally well. And he was great. Israel Folau, I watched the highlights of the game. Unfortunately, I think I fell asleep when I started the national anthems. I tried really hard.
Well, I didn't even bother.
I tried it. My only problem was I was lying in bed when the TV was on, and that's just the recipe for disaster. So, but
you wake up to the final whistle.
Yeah, damn it! And the guys are like, "That's the best game I've ever seen." But quality.
Too often.
Yeah, Izzy Folau's came into his own a little bit. Some lucky tries. The RGs did fight back a little bit, but Aussies had a point to prove. And I said they'd come good this year, and I was hoping it wasn't against us. They did come good.
The decent win for them to round it all off. 54-17. Scratching my bum. What are you on about? But on to Ellis Park, and what a game. I mean, I know there's a lot to talk about and things to be concerned about, and probably the one that the Boks will lament the most was a tackle success rate of 70%, with the Kiwis making 83% of their tackles, and the Kiwis having to make the better part of 45% more tackles than the Boks, because the Boks threw everything at them. Yeah. And then crucial little mistakes, like not kicking it to touch on the hooter at half-time, which allowed them in for their third try, put the Boks under huge pressure, and then to concede a try down the left wing with 14 against 14 men when you've already secured the bonus point, and but let's take nothing away from the All Blacks, because we all bitched and moaned and whined about the opportunity that was missed out on in Auckland, and I still think that test match could have had a different result. But I can tell you this much: yes, the Boks threw everything at it, and their structures weren't there defensively, and they let themselves down. And I mean, guys, their front row missed 3 or 4 tackles apiece. But the All Blacks travelled from Argentina, got 2 yellow cards, played the game with 14 men for 20 minutes, and won 5-4 by 11 points at altitude at the fortress of Ellis Park. Outstanding performance.
Unbelievable. And they knew that we were going to come at them like that. I must be honest, I never expected. It was almost like Hanneke Meyer said, "You Oaks go and play schoolboy rugby. I don't care what, you just jaw." And I didn't expect that. I thought we'd be a little bit more structured because I think we needed it. The All Blacks were unbelievable. They absorbed the pressure. I don't even think they expected to get that abuse that they got. But they are so professional and they handle it so well, and they believe in their structures so well that they will go ahead. They knew all they needed to do was score 4 tries or stand with the touch. And they did both. Well, better. They won.
Exactly. The highlights of the game: Ben Smith, 10th try of the season in 9 tests, all of them won.
It just pisses me off that he scores.
and I mean, the defense was sloppy on that one, but there was a great cutback in off his wing and through defenders. There were a lot of tackles
Highlights:
missed.
Brian Banner.
Yeah. Look, that second try, the pass was forward. I've slowed it down on my super slow-mo on my PVR.
Really?
And
marginal by the sounds of things.
Well, what deceives the TMO and the ref is that Flo is diving forward through the tackle when he throws the ball, but it definitely goes forward half a meter. Anyway, the Habana scintillating.
I don't think that pass was forward, to be honest with you. I thought I was thinking of something else for some second there, but I don't think it was forward. I'll have another little look-see though.
I slowed it down on the PVR. It's half a yard.
It's but did the ball travel backwards behind his head?
He threw it out his hand forward.
Okay.
The
highlights, I'll give you a low light. It's 2 low lights. I think Jean de Villiers and Fruity Pierre shooting in the line defensively. Fruity Pierre missing 2 tackles, and that caused 2 tries. But the reason, and that's the other part of the low light, is the reason why I believe they were shooting was they were trying to make up for Morné Steyn and JJ Engelbrecht being absolutely shoddy to shit on defense.
Yeah, JJ looked he was like a deer in headlights for most of that game. I even tweeted about it. He needs some lessons on passing, like when to and when not to, because he held onto the ball 5 or 6 times when he should have passed it, and then he passed it 4 or 5 times when there was no pass on. It was just I don't mean to be sounding negative. Don't get me wrong. I was happy with what happened on Saturday, and I believe that we can, if we don't build on what happened, then we won't ever beat the All Blacks. We've got the attacking game down. I think defensively we need to sort it out. But I believe, as much as I'm been saluting and applauding Heineke Meyer for being tactically as good as he is, he made 2 massive errors for me. One was putting Jan Safontaine on the wing when JJ Engelbrecht has played on the wing, and we've seen him play on the wing for the Springboks and for the Bulls and for the Baby Boks and where Jan is a centre. Agreed. And the other is on the 60-minute mark, is forcing on a scrum on 5 meters, taking Bismarck and Yanni off.
I don't care even, and I would have complained if they were taking Adrian off and putting Bismarck on, because you are warm. You are ready. You've got know what's happening in the scrum. You can't put a cold guy on for scrum time. It's like putting a hooker on a defensive line out. There's your first throw in of the game. You're on the 5 meter.
Absolutely, and even to the degree that when they panned in on the scrum while it was all going on, Jean-Andre Kruger looked up and just said, "One more." He just at the bench, "We want one more scrum. Don't do it." And then Bismarck refused to go.
Bismarck was upset.
Nearly flat-handed the assistant, the 4th official.
That was it. I just can't believe it, that it's not rocket science to know that was going to backfire.
No. You know, if you're 60 minutes, Bismarck's coming off and Strauss is going on, granted, but you're 5 meters from the fucking line.
Then somebody make it 63 minutes. Nobody cares. We don't care. But there are times on the park when you do that. Firstly, the guy's got to come in and get to the grips with the game and stuff. When you go on a 5 meter scrum, the guys are cucking themselves. And couldn't you struggle a little bit at scrum time?
It should never have happened. I agree with you 100%. Some interesting stats that came out of the tournament: most line breaks and
most
and best attacking player in the tournament in terms of meters gained with ball in hand and line breaks, etc. Jean de Villiers.
I can believe that. He would have been in my top 3 of my guesses.
He was outstanding.
He's had a great year.
And how was the strength through Bowden Barrett to score his try?
He slapped him right.
Just put his shoulder down and lifted him out the way. It's like 8-mate putt.
Vamos.
What
other stats do you have?
Etzebeth with that gallop down the left wing, that will live long in the memory. They need to play that in super slow-mo. I don't care what highlights packet they stick it on or advert for SuperSport, but that has to be there, because that was just a thing of beauty as a former lock to watch.
Oh, you tighties, eh? I'll tell you another thing. There was the ball. The one thing I did see, the ball was in play 10% longer on Saturday than a usual Test match rugby game. That is a lot. 10%. I think it went from 43% to 53%. The ball was actually live and in play. So the guys were running with it. And were they running?
No, and that's what I mean. In terms of watching it, it's... I've said it before when, mates and fans of opposition teams have tried to wind me up and bait me about losses for the Springboks. And at the end of the day, if my team has given its all and played at the best that it can, which the Boks did, yes, we understand the frailties on the defensive thing, but the Boks left nothing on the park. The referee didn't cock anything up. And at the end of the day, the better team won, and kudos to them but I just sit there and I go, it's 2 years to a World Cup, and you've got a team chock full of 32 to 35 year olds.
Yeah. We've got a
team
lot
chock full of 20 to 23 year olds.
But we've got a lot to learn and build on, where the All Blacks need to try and maintain. And it's very difficult to do that. It's like anything. It's like when you're training for something or when you're trying to lose weight. Those first 5 kgs are a breeze. It's those other...
You're saying the you as in inverted commas as in Joe Public, not me.
You. Yes, you. I was talking to you. When you're doing those weight loss things or you're doing those training things, to see great gains and great wins in the beginning is easy to happen. It's trying to keep it tight and motivated when you're trying to look for that 1% here and there. And I believe that's where the Springboks... We're going to take a lot out of this, and yes, it's Heineke Meyer's second year, but there's not one South African out there that is complaining like they were last year. We're all sitting there going, you know what, we lost, that's fine. I can deal with that because I saw on the field what I believe is a good thing and what's happening. It's what Heineke Meyer does with it that is key.
And at the end of the day, Bok coaches are judged on their performances versus the All Blacks, and he's 0-4, and that will be hurting him, and he will be plotting and planning. The other one that I just wanted to mention was, and I wish I'd sent the tweet, but I was doing something in between stuff. When Dane Coles came on, I said, he's good for a line out or two. First throw into Etzebeth's hand, and John de Villiers ends up getting a try.
Yeah. He's also the All Blacks are struggling at hooker. They are, come World Cup, Kiwis
don't struggle with hookers at all, mate. Trust me.
They are struggling. They don't have anyone that is remotely close to any of their previous top 3 that's gonna help them out.
And Big Kev and Haw are 34 and 35 years of age. The suspicion is Haw's done now.
Well, NRU need to step in and put Haw into Super Rugby next year, or put him on a sabbatical or something.
He's not going to make it to the next World Cup.
Well, he might have to. Who are they going to have? Anyway,
I don't care.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that rugby championship. I'm happy for 2 parts. One, because the Boks have put their hands up and the country's happy, and that makes me happy. And the other part is I am glad that the Aussies finally clicked, because you can't not have between the All Blacks, the South Africans, the Aussies, the English. They've all got to be relatively up there. We don't care much about the English, but the Southern Hemisphere sides must be winning and winning well. We need to keep our Southern Hemisphere world dominance, and the Aussies need to fix that.
2 things I'm glad about. Well, there's a lot of things, but the big one, the big one for me was the fact that the point performance in Auckland got taken out of the equation by the All Blacks at Ellis Park, because the last thing I would have liked is for the Boks to win without a bonus point and the All Blacks to finish outside of 8 points and the Boks lose out by 1 point, and then you would have never heard the end of it from your average whining South African. All Blacks took it out of the equation. The other big piece of news that's come out this week is Raymond Poit has not been given a November test.
Fantastic. I've got 2 things for you. Who was your outstanding young player or find for the Super Rugby? For the Rugby Championship, and who was your sort of player of the year?
Ben Smith is player of the year.
Okay.
And that's probably based on June as well, with his tries against the French. So I just got to think this through, because Bowden Barrett would be my
young player.
How Aaron Cruden is starting ahead of him in the All Black side
is beyond me.
It is very confusing for me.
Yeah.
Aside from maybe the fact that they don't think that they've got anybody else that can cover centre and fullback and and fly half like Barrett can. That can be that's the only logical explanation that I can have, is that Barrett covers 3 positions off the bench, much like Lambie does.
Yeah. I'm a bit stuck between my player of the tournament in terms of just excitement and just really someone who I believe is really good for the team. It's between Kieran Reid and Jean de Villiers, but I think Kieran Reid will win that. He's been unbelievable at 8. He's been setting up and making tries and scoring tries all day long. I think he'd probably take it close by Jean de Villiers. I think Jean de Villiers coming back into form has been unbelievable. And then for a young player, I was looking at Izzy Folau more as a new guy coming in, but he didn't have a good rugby championship. I thought Nick White was pretty handy, but you can't overlook Ben Smith. I mean, he's
Gary, we're talking Super Sanzar rugby here, not IRB. But Gary Baverstock has said Kieran Reid and Lee Halfpenny for IRB Player of the Year.
Yeah, I wasn't talking.
We're just talking Super Rugby.
That IRB, they're going to
Rugby Championship.
They're going to announce those finalists soon. We've been quite a bit of chat about it. I think Halfpenny's definitely in for the win for the IRB Player of the Year. But Southern Hemisphere side, youngster,
a lot.
Yeah, that's a great shot. I think youngster, you'd have to go with Ben Smith, but I think Villiers Leroux
He's not that young. He's 26.
No, but I'm talking about new and incoming, up and coming. And I thought Villiers Leroux also deserved a little bit of a mention.
He's got a lot of work to do
going
backwards.
He's very exciting. He needs to be polished off a little bit. But I thought he was. I thought in terms of a find, and everyone was talking about how you have to plan, so they put him on the wing. So
no, totally. I think he should be there, but he's got a lot of work to do going backwards. He panics in his own 22 where it doesn't look over his shoulder to see how far the opposition are away and kicks balls into touch and throws things. Anyway, he's always going to be one of those kinds of players. Just how much of an effect, as a final question, how much of an effect do you think the loss of Brian Abana and Willem Alberts in the first 40 or 50 minutes had on the test match?
I had a long chat with someone on Saturday. I don't think losing Abana was a big thing for us. I believe the positional change was a big thing. I think Habana he does create a lot. I think JJ could have created very close to the same on the wing, and I thought Jan would have done better at centre. And not saying I don't want Habana there. I just don't think his position affected him. Not being in that position affected the game as much as another player having been lost. I think Willem Alberts was a fairly decent loss. We lost them both pretty much the same time, if I'm not mistaken, which kind of did ruffle us up. And then we made 2 very poor substitutes on the 60-minute mark. So you look at those 4 players as a whole, affected our game massively.
Well, we changed our whole front row by the 65th.
But I think Willem Alberts was our biggest loss between Alberts and Habana. I think Alberts would have set everything up. Habana would have finished it off, so it's a bit of a tough one. But I think initially, Alberts was the biggest loss.
Jeez, that's a big call. Aaron Smith, Young Player of the Year in the Rugby Championship. Gary Baverstock?
Don't see why not.
Oh, anyway, time will tell. We're going to find out in the next few weeks when they make all of those awards. Folks, thanks for listening. You've been listening to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. We'll be back next week when we will know who the semi-finalists are and where the potential final is going to be played.
Come on, the Sharks.
Ain't going to happen, son, even though I've picked them. You've been listening to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. Chat to you later. Bye.